5-Year Mission, the podcast, episode 44.
This episode of 5-Year Mission, the podcast, is brought to you by Fansets, your home for all things pop culture pin related. Head over to fansets.com and see all that they have to offer. And also stay tuned at the end of the episode for a very special offer from us here at 5-Year Mission.
So Ferengi.
Yeah.
Ferengi. Phalanges.
Right. And they're named after fingers.
Ferengi. Ferengi. I'm terrible with names. Like, I don't remember any. I remember Quark.
Yeah.
And I kind of can say Ferengi every once in a while.
By now you figured out that this is the 5-Year Mission podcast. Welcome to 5-Year Mission, the podcast.
Easy there, Trigger.
I just wanted to beat you to it.
You did a pretty good job of that. Do you want to finish it off?
The only podcast
Wow.
made by a band
What?
called 5-Year Mission.
Wow. You don't even know the actual line.
I don't know.
Do you have an actual line?
Do you think I really pay attention to what you say?
Welcome to 5-Year Mission, the podcast, the only podcast hosted by a band called 5-Year Mission. I'm Andy Fark, and I'm joined to my left by Mr. Mike Rittenhouse, who tried to do the opening.
I mean, yeah, it is hosted, but
Yeah.
we also make it.
Yeah, but that's not the line that I use.
So, that's
No.
mine's more accurate.
What did they used to say on Salute Your Shorts? Get it right or pay the price.
I don't know. I didn't watch that.
You didn't... How did you never watch Salute Your Shorts?
I don't know.
That seems right up your alley.
I saw like 2 or 3 of them probably.
Budnick, who went on to become a metal guitarist?
I don't know. You're using words I don't know right now.
You don't know the words metal guitarist?
No, I know those words.
Anyway, we got a great guest tonight.
I know Spudnik.
Wow. You mean Sputnik?
No, Spudnik.
Is it a potato-based?
Yeah, it's Ross's costume from the Halloween episode on Friends. Welcome to 5-Year Mission podcast, the only podcast hosted by a band called 5-Year Mission.
Take 2. We have a great guest tonight. He is a local comedian, soon to not be local comedian. I don't know what it is with this curse of comedians appearing on 5-Year Mission, the podcast, that wind up moving away. Like
doing this podcast is the goal. Once we do it, we can go.
Yeah, you're going places.
Yeah.
You have seen him all around town. He's soon going to be a Chicago comedian. You may have heard him on the Bob and Tom show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Possibly.
Please welcome to the show, Mr. Mitchell Potts.
Hey, how's it going?
Oh, I also should have mentioned another one of the co-hosts of Cook on High for 30
that
Minutes.
is a now defunct podcast.
I know, damn it.
No, every time I go on stage, Alex brings me up as a co-host, and I just want to tell him, like, we haven't done an episode of it in like 4 months.
Yeah, you're moving away. How are you going to eat the same foods?
Yeah. Oh, I'll still eat the same foods.
You'll go out and find them.
Yeah, I'll find the crab cake poppers.
Ew.
What a crossover episode this is.
Oh my god. Well, we did the same thing with Pat, except it was over Zoom.
Oh yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah.
So
did he like eat while you guys discussed Star Trek?
No, he was just doing dabs while we were.
No, that sounds about right. Yeah. He's actually a knowledgeable Star Trek fan.
Oh, obviously.
I'm going to be completely different. Not that I dislike it. I don't have a problem with it. I just have no experience in it.
No, but see, that's what I want out of these episodes when I bring comedians on, is to have the guests have zero knowledge of Star Trek.
Oh, the only knowledge I have is I saw the first J.J. Abrams one.
Oh, just Star Trek
The
2009.
movie. Yeah, the movie. What's the feeling in the community about that movie? Is it divisive, or do people generally
Mixed.
like it? It's mixed.
Yeah.
It's
Mike?
How do you guys feel about it personally?
I like it. I like the first one.
we like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that one, and I like the third one that they did.
Yeah.
The second one,
Bad, yeah.
that's the bottom. If I were to rank every single Star Trek episode and movie and everything that has
bad?
been made, that would be at the very bottom.
Holy shit.
Yeah, that one's also divisive, but I think a lot more people share that opinion that Star Trek Into Darkness is not very good.
The like I don't know if this is controversial, but like the most like highly regarded one is Wrath of Khan, right? Or do you guys have different?
I'd say that's the most known.
That's the most known, but not.
I feel like, okay, so I won't get too deep into this, but
Mike has opinions on this one.
I feel like Wrath of Khan is considered like the best one. I'm making air quotes because of the lore. Like, they had 10 years with no Star Trek, and then Star Trek became really popular long after it was canceled. Then they made the motion picture, which is a fantastic movie, but it's also a snoozer.
Most of it.
Like, if you've been waiting 10 years, that is not the movie you were waiting for.
Yeah.
And then, a couple years later, they made Wrath of Khan, which is a lot more what I think the fans wanted. And, it had a Khan who was a character from the show, and, it was all this, like, submarine battle in space and all exciting with explosions.
It was basically like the hunt for Red October in space.
Yeah.
So, as soon as that came out, everyone was like, this is the greatest thing ever. And then, the next movie, Search for Spock, was pretty good, but not quite the Wrath of Khan. So I think right around that time is when everyone was like, they'll never top the Wrath of Khan. That's the greatest thing that they've ever done. And it just, like, kind of snowballed for 30, 40 years until now. When it's like, if you even begin to say, I don't think the Wrath of Khan is that great, you got 5,000 fanboys jumping down your throat. What the fuck are you talking about? It's the best movie ever made. Like, okay, I mean, it's no Voyage Home, but all right.
The one with the whales.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm done. You can continue now.
So we got some background on what you know about Star Trek.
Yeah, I know about the existence of Wrath of Khan.
Yeah.
I've seen the first J.J. Abrams one, and I watched the episode today. And that's it.
So you've seen a movie, you know of another movie.
And I watched today's episode and a quarter of that race episode. The civil
Far
rights
Beyond the
episode.
Stars.
Yes,
Yeah.
I watched like a quarter of that, and then I was like feeling sick. Not from the
No,
episode.
because you actually were sick.
Not from the episode, but I was ill.
No, I remember because we had to reschedule this one.
Which honestly, thank God we did, because you wouldn't have wanted me to talk about that.
No, we were supposed to have another comedian, David Brooks, come on and do Far Beyond the Stars, who is a black comedian, and we're going to have him watch that. And then I was like, hey, Mitchell, you want to come in and hop on this? And then David Brooks cancels, and I was like, hey, Mitchell, you want to come and represent the black race? No, I do not. Also, I'm sick. So, thank God
now I'm
that happened.
Talk about this episode.
I've never been happier that you got sick, Mitchell, because that could have been disastrous.
Yeah. It would have been very uninformed, I'll tell you that much.
Well, I mean...
On my end.
Well, to be fair, we did have you... Let's get into this. We had you watch the episode from Deep Space Nine, The Magnificent Ferengi.
Yes.
And as a non-Star Trek fan, or at least with limited exposure to Star Trek, I should say, I thought that might be an odd jump-off point for somebody.
So it took me 2.5 minutes before I Googled Ferengi Jewish, and I got about 70,000 hits on Google for it. Oh, yeah. Including a TV Tropes article that just said Space Jew.
Wow.
There was an entire TV Tropes thing about it.
Yeah, they weren't messing around with that.
They absolutely weren't. It was pretty heavy.
Oh yeah. There's a lot of.
It wasn't
pieces.
super subtle.
No.
What they were trying to go for.
No, a lot of the times with a lot of the representations of other races and things like that, this is an allegory for this race, this is an allegory for this race. Sometimes they could not be subtle in that whole representation.
I guess that was kind of a trend in MMORPGs until 2014. So I guess at a certain point, that's what fantasy was.
Yeah, but it's representations of what's happening on Earth right now and everything.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, interesting.
That's
interesting.
Star Trek in a nutshell.
Pretty much,
yeah.
Since 1966, that's basically been the story.
But the Ferengis were basically just all Billy Crystals. They got into wacky hijinks. They danced around. They were showmen.
City slickers in space.
They were definitely city slickers. They weren't great with guns. They didn't practice proper gun safety, which led them into some trouble later in the episode.
Bad trigger discipline.
Yeah, very bad trigger discipline. They liked money.
Well,
They love talking about it.
Oh yeah, the more you get into the Ferengi lore, you'll see. Like when they go into church to pray, they actually have to put like a little slip of latinum inside like a piggy bank looking thing, and like that's how they get their prayers answered.
Wow, incredible.
It's a whole thing.
Is there like a Ferengi Ark of the Covenant? Is there an episode where they buy every newspaper? In space.
There is an episode where there's a character who hangs out at Quark's bar called Morn, and Morn fakes his death because he pulled this heist years ago with these other people, and they're all coming to like try and find his riches, and Quark. He leaves it to Quark, and Quark opens this thing, and it's full of latinum, and it's all like glowing, and it glows in his face.
There's your Ark.
Like the Ark of the Covenant.
Yeah, I mean it's like kind of that moment. It's nothing special. It's just a lot of latinum.
Yeah, exactly, and it glows.
All right. Yeah, they really nope. Just no subtlety with these guys.
No, but I wanted to bring you in on this because like Ferengi episodes are so polarizing within the Star Trek community. People either love them or hate them.
They're like space the Three Stooges.
Yeah,
that's basically what they are.
I mean,
it's all
kind of complete with like the run and chase scenes.
They
and
do.
Everything.
They have all the physical comedy. They're they get into Larry David-esque arguments with each other.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Like I mean, there's another episode called Little Green Men that totally fits right into this description.
Time travel episode.
They basically always comedy. They never have like a serious moment, do they?
There's a few
Rarely.
serious moments. Yeah. Actually, there is the Battle of AR 549 where Nog that we were talking about before the episode. He gets his leg blown off.
Oh, damn.
And then like a couple episodes later, you get to see him go through like PTSD and everything. It's a very serious episode.
Oh, wow.
It gets heavy. And it's like it's considered one of like the best Star Trek episodes of all time.
So people like that Ferengi based episode, or was that like B plot, or was that A? That had to have been A plot. Yeah, that had to be A plot.
In fact, I don't think that episode even hardly had a B plot. I don't.
No.
I mean, if it did, it was like one or two scenes.
This episode didn't really have a B plot. It just felt like B plot.
It was absolutely a B plot that got turned into an entire episode.
Yeah, they're like, let's go on a wacky adventure.
Yeah, it was basically like an Ocean's 11, except instead of stealing money, they're trying to get Moogie back.
Yeah,
which
Moogie is incredible.
Moogie is the mom of Quark and Rom and I guess grandmother to Nog. It always feels so weird to call her a grandmother.
He calls her Grand Moogie.
That's right. I guess I never noticed that before.
And after Rom and Lita get married, he starts calling Lita Moogie.
That's right. Yeah, Lita that you saw in the beginning of the episode, that was one of the bartenders. Rom and she are married.
All right.
Like on the show.
Okay.
It's hilarious.
It's
just like a whole Odd Couple type thing. But now watching this episode, what did you have more questions beyond this that like you were escaping you?
I don't really think I had a lot of questions. It seemed like a basically self-contained plot. I knew that the Ferengis were not main characters. They didn't have main character energy. Well, I was like, this is a B plot episode with some B plot Is there any Ferengi character that's like an A-lister? Quark is an A-lister.
He's a main character
so
on the show.
So he'll like show up and like do some cool stuff.
Yeah.
And Rom is in a lot. I mean, he's not in every episode.
Towards the end,
but he's probably in like at least a third or maybe half of the episodes of the show.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But like Quark is like in nearly every one.
Yeah, like pretty much every
Mostly,
episode.
Yeah.
And he's in the first episode of Voyager.
That's right.
Someone's got to slip all the Star Trek nerd stuff in here. All right.
Yeah, it's not gonna come from me. I can't.
Well, you're also giving me Voyager knowledge, and
Do you not know anything about Voyager?
I know very little about Voyager. It's my least favorite series.
When was it?
Oh, that was
recent.
That was right after Deep Space Nine.
Okay.
It ran alongside Deep Space Nine for like
2 seasons.
4 or 5 years.
What? This was
4 or
like
5,
early
yeah.
2000s.
Late 90s.
Yeah, okay. I was gonna
Yeah.
say like. Does Star Trek kind of, is it like a space Law and Order where they try to cover like current events but in a space format? I just wanted to know if there was like a space 9/11 episode in Voyager.
Probably the catalyst that leads into the Xindi arc and
On Enterprise.
which
Florida.
which of
That's
course
right.
was like, you know, about 1 or 2 years after that happened is when they made that episode and that season.
Yeah, there was like an alien race on Star Trek Enterprise that just basically built this like a super weapon, and it was like lasered most like Florida in half.
Okay, why is Florida around?
It just, you know, showed up and zapped a random spot, and it just happened to be Florida.
Yeah. Right in half too, where of course one of the crew members of the Enterprise's sister was still living.
Was in Florida, so they do go down to Earth. Like Captain Kirk was like from Kansas, right? Is that
Iowa?
Iowa, okay,
Yeah.
close.
What's the name of the city? Riverside.
Riverside.
Iowa.
So they will occasionally go to Earth. Like the human
Yeah.
characters are from Earth. Are there like humans from planets that aren't Earth?
There's been a few there from like
Yeah.
moon colonies and things like that.
Especially by the next gen time, which is what Deep Space Nine is. There are humans that have grown up like not on Earth, like on other planets, and maybe they've like not even visited Earth or been there once or twice.
But like their ancestry's all from Earth.
Oh yeah,
There's
all
there's not, like-
humans are from Earth.
Okay,
Yes.
all humans like
Yeah.
originate from Earth. Okay.
Yeah, a lot of times, basically whenever the series is happening, like whatever series is on right now, it will deal with current events.
Okay.
Like a matter of fact, the new series Strange New Worlds just premiered today as we're recording this Thursday, May 5th, and at the very end of the episode, the captain is explaining to a brand new planet that they're making first contact with, like, you know, we went through our struggles and everything, and then around the right after the late 2000s, we experienced a lot of uprising, and they were showing footage from January 6th.
Awesome.
Like the noose hanging from them, like the chanting about Mike Pence and everything. They used that footage in the brand new episode of the series that premiered today.
Yeah. I will say it's a little short-sighted on their part because it's probably going to be much worse.
Okay.
The footage that they're going to be showing when Star Trek actually happens.
It was like a series of things, and that was in there.
And then it like escalated from there, talking about like basically like 600,000 species of animals and plants died, and then like a third of the planet's population was killed during this like war after January 6th, because they were talking about like we went from like this war to the eugenics wars and then just to World War III.
Yeah, basically between the mid 2020s and the 2050s,
Yeah.
there's like this war that just like annihilates the planet.
Which isn't far off from reality.
Yeah. You know, we'll probably lose the war on climate change. That's probably going to be that's probably going to be our battle. They're just going to show.
We're already losing.
They're just going to show like video of the ice caps melting and like cities going underwater.
Yeah, but that's okay because the kid that Rios stayed behind to raise forms a team that solves the problem of the planets
getting too hot.
Well, yeah, like whatever the.
I can't remember what the exact.
I can't remember exactly what they said.
There was also the season finale of the Picard series today too, and then they
spoiler for anyone who hasn't watched the show.
Yeah, this is coming out Monday. They got plenty of time.
Whole 3 days.
Yeah, they'll be fine.
It'll be fine.
It'll be fine. Now, based on just watching this episode alone, would you go on and watch any other Star Trek?
Only the Ferengi episodes. I want to just become an expert in Ferengi lore.
Oh my God.
Like that's the only thing I will like. Someone will bring up Star Trek, and I will talk about Quark for an hour.
I'll tell you what. Between all of the different series, there's probably about 20 of them.
I feel like I could quickly become an expert in Ferengi lore.
Yeah, you got Paramount Plus.
Just the most hated part. Is it the most like hated episodes, or are there like theme episodes that people
Oh
hate
no, these
more?
aren't the most hated episodes.
Well,
but,
Prophet and Lace might be up there.
ooh, yeah,
What-
Quark does like a cross-dressing thing.
Oh, I'm in.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
See,
become an expert in Ferengi lore.
It's cringy.
I'll tell you what. I love that episode.
Oh, man.
he can't take it, but I think that episode is fantastic.
Why is it a Mrs. Doubtfire situation?
More or less, yeah.
that
Except like the doctor on the ship actually transforms him into a female Ferengi. It's not just like a cross-dressing
So is
thing.
Quark like naked the whole time too?
No.
No, because he plays one of the more advanced Ferengi females that. can
Okay,
wear
so-
clothes
That's
and
coward.
earn
That's
profit.
coward shit. Never
So,
mind. I'm out on the episode.
At the beginning of the Magnificent Ferengi, I believe Zek contacts them, the old Ferengi, right, to tell them that Moogie's been kidnapped, right?
yeah.
So he's like the leader of the Ferengi.
No, the Grand Nagus.
Yeah.
Zek, that's right. Okay, I was thinking Lek.
How many
which is
Ferengi are there? Like millions?
there's a whole
That's
planet.
like the whole planet.
Yeah, it's a whole, yeah.
Ferenginar
Billion.
is Ferenginar is their home planet. Yeah.
So in Prophet and Lace, he's impressed with this. It is Zek in Prophet and Lace, right? That's
Yeah.
who Quark dresses up for.
Is Quark trying to seduce someone?
No,
as...
he's dressing up for the head of Sluggo Cola,
That's right.
which is a Ferengi based soda company, which is a soda made from beetles.
awesome.
Yeah, it's a have a Sluggo Cola. That guy.
That's right.
Oof, I forget his name, but it's not
Well,
important.
anyway, this guy's impressed with the female that's
Has earned so much profit,
has been earning profit.
which is Moogie.
Yeah.
And so he wants to meet a female, and so whatever happens, like the female won't do it, so Quark has to do it and pretend to be her.
Okay. I did love when Moogie was giving like stock advice to her captor.
Speaking of the captor, do you realize who that was?
No, he looked familiar to me, but I couldn't make out who it was.
Iggy Pop.
Is it really? Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to say, like the whole episode, I was like, I know who this guy is, but I can't put my finger on it.
Yeah.
So is Iggy Pop just a super fan who
Yeah.
like wanted to be? Yeah, wanted to do it.
It comes like from a long line of like musicians that were huge Star Trek fans that like somehow got on an episode. Like Mick Fleetwood from Fleetwood Mac was in like full costume on an episode of Next Generation. Couldn't even tell who
He looked like a fish.
That
had
rocks.
zero lines. He was just the guy in the costume.
Does Iggy Pop show up anymore, or
No.
he's just a captor after that? Because they kidnap him, right? At the end of the episode, don't they take him as a
Yeah.
hostage? They don't kill
Yeah.
him. So
Yeah.
I didn't know if
They,
he had
they never show him again.
yeah.
No.
He just got owned, and then that's
Yeah,
it.
it's a long line of musicians and actors and stuff that just wanted to be a part of Star Trek. That just got like one-off episodes.
That's
like
cool.
Well, like early on, like Seth MacFarlane was in some episodes. Tom Morello from Rage Against the Machine was in a couple episodes.
Forgot
or one.
about that.
Yeah. Who are some other big ones? I know there were a couple other big.
Stephen Hawking was in an episode.
Yeah.
Who'd Stephen Hawking play?
Himself.
Him.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah,
He was
in
playing-
a holodeck where Data, he's an android on the Next Generation, and he wants to meet are they playing poker?
Playing poker.
Yeah, he
yeah.
plays poker with a bunch of like famous people from
Stephen
history.
Hawking, Albert Einstein, and not Mark Twain. I can't remember who the other one was. But yeah, just goofy stuff. But yeah, Star Trek guest stars. And like, whether they can act or not is always going to be a crapshoot.
I thought Iggy Pop did a good job.
Well, my favorite thing about Iggy's role in that Kivon, the Vorta they were prisoner exchanging, that they had to turn into like a remote control guy. He pronounced his name 3 different ways.
I didn't realize.
Because it was Kivon, and Kivan. And he pronounced it all three ways.
And they just didn't care. It ended.
Yeah. And Quark just
They probably
basically-
just got Iggy Pop for like a day.
Oh,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
Where is Kivon? Ferengi, show yourselves. Like, not like to be kept waiting.
Well, I take back what I said about him doing a good job. I felt like he had an intimidating presence. I felt like
He did a good job.
Yeah.
He did pretty good.
It was just the pronunciation of the one name of the thing.
You know,
that
the one
keep
thing he had to
getting.
figure
But you know
out.
what? He is by far not the first actor in Star Trek, including the main character actors in Star Trek, to mess up the names of things
And they just
repeatedly.
do not
Multiple
care.
times in one scene.
Who's
Yeah.
the worst? Who's the worst one? Like the worst celebrity actor?
Worst celebrity actor that we've seen on there.
Like a guest that they had
Yeah,
on
like a
there,
guest.
and they just. Oh man.
They're just
Ooh,
bad.
man, trying to think.
It's probably a musician, I would guess.
Trying to think back to guest stars that they had on there that I was just like, Sarah Silverman was great,
Yeah.
of course.
You know,
She was in like 2 episodes of Voyager.
Oh yeah.
Like a flashback to Earth episode. It's like a time travel
I
thing.
can't claim whether or not Terry Hatcher was good because I was too busy staring at her to really judge. You know, because it was like the late '80s Terry Hatcher, you know,
Yeah.
so she was
Yeah.
gorgeous, but I think her performance might have been a little.
iffy.
Stacey Abrams' performance on Star Trek Discovery left a little to be desired with her delivery.
Stacey Abrams was on Star Trek.
Yeah, just recently.
Awesome.
Yeah. She was
didn't-
her lines were a little wooden in the delivery.
It was short.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it
Got
was
her
just
in there
the
for a
one,
second.
The one scene mainly.
Well,
right?
she was the president of Earth.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they had like a hopeful future, you know.
Right, exactly. Which that pissed a lot of people off too.
That she was the president of Earth.
Yeah.
I mean, the most offensive part that it was an American that we decided to make president of Earth. I wouldn't have gone with an American.
Well, it was the fact that it was Stacey Abrams that
but-
divided a lot of people.
was she playing a human though?
Yeah.
Okay.
From the looks of it, I mean, they didn't
But-
do any prosthetics of any kind on her.
What? And it would be funny if they were just like, this is Stacey Abrams. She's the president of Earth. She like lived.
Ladies and
She's
gentlemen.
lived. She's actually an immortal being.
The cryogenically frozen body of Stacey Abrams. She's the president now. Yeah, so a lot of Star Trek deals with like modern stuff. I mean, going back to the 60s, but like a lot of today's fans, there's a very vocal minority of people that are talking about how Star Trek is too woke.
Oh yeah. That's like in every single
Just because of-
fan base of everything.
Progressive politics.
Yeah.
And it's the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen. Like you do comedy. Have you ever been called out for like having like a woke take?
I mean,
on anything?
that exists so much in comedy. That's like half the arguments. Me specifically, no, because I like shitting yourself can't be woke. It's neutral. It's not PC or woke.
That's very true.
It's just the human. It's the human experience.
Oh my god. Let's actually
Yeah.
move on to the comedy aspect of this because
Of this episode, yeah, it was very funny.
yeah, no, but I mean just your comedy in general. Yeah,
No.
So, I mean, because we always cover both. We'll do like one half the
That's
episode, and one
okay.
half, talking about you and what you do.
Yeah,
So what got you first into comedy? Like what was your jumping off point that made you want to get into doing
I didn't have
comedy?
anything else to do. I just felt like it was this or nothing. I don't know. I don't know. I was into it. I was into comedy,
Yeah.
and I always like wanted to be a funny person. I made a few YouTube videos when I was in high school, and with friends, and then it bummed me out when they decided not to make more. And like, I used to watch Whose Line Is It Anyway when I was a kid, and like play Whose Line Is It Anyway at lunch, and then
really?
get bummed out when we didn't play that anymore. Like I've always like really liked it, and then I got to the point where I was about ready to graduate college, and I was like, I'm gonna do nothing. I better do something. So
Yeah.
I worked up the courage to do an open mic. I went to the open mic at the Comedy Attic for like 3 months.
Oh, Bloomington?
Yeah,
Okay.
every single week I would just go and watch.
All
and
right.
just sit in the back and drink and watch.
Just kind of learning, seeing how people crafted.
I thought you were going
things.
to say lurk, and I was.
Well, that
I
too.
was lurking and just watching these open mics, and then eventually I wrote a bunch of post-it notes to myself, calling myself like a bitch for not signing up to do the open mic, and then I eventually like read that Post-it note too many times, and I was like, yeah, I'll just send an email.
Yeah.
And then I did it, and I had fun, and then I just didn't quit. now I'm here.
Now, who were some of like your early influences that kind of made you want to get up and do like the stand-up stuff?
I don't
like you mentioned Whose Line Is It Anyway, but that's more improv.
Yeah, that's
type
improv.
Stuff.
I liked improv before I liked stand up.
Same.
But I never did improv. Like I never even like imagined myself doing improv just because I never thought I could be like quick enough on my feet. Yeah. And like stand up's written, so that always seemed like better to me.
It's just predestined.
Yeah, I don't know. I got into Louis C.K. like
okay.
But everybody of that era.
Early on, Louis C.K. as an influence is fine now, but
which
as long
is
as you can acknowledge that he's turned into a piece of shit now.
Which is that's for my generation of comics, I'd say that's a ton of people that got into Louis C.K. or Bill Hicks. I got really into Bill Hicks, and then Louis, and then I started doing stand-up, and then I just found a bunch of other comics that I liked a lot.
Okay. Like regional, national?
Yeah, just people in the local scene that I liked, and then like headliners that the Comedy Attic would have, because I could just like go and see them live and see them like after I started, like I got really into Kyle Kinane.
Love Kinane.
Yeah, he's probably my favorite comic.
Oh yeah.
I without it, he's my favorite comic. And I got super into Kyle Kinane and Mike Birbiglia.
Oh God, he's one of the greatest storytellers ever.
And then John Mulaney, and those are probably like my like main people now. And Maria Bamford. And
Maria Bamford is so divisive just because she's so weird.
It's definitely weird, but like.
But she's up there.
Great.
She's in my top 5 comics of all time.
She's great.
Ugh. I was disappointed when they canceled Lady Dynamite on Netflix.
Oh yeah, that was great.
Yeah, because she had all of her friends on there. Patton Oswalt was on there. Brian Posehn. Everybody would just pop in for like an episode or two and then just pop right back out.
But like, I don't know, in the early like 2010s, it felt like there was kind of a boom in like alt comedy. Then the Comedy Attic would have like all of these people, and I got to watch them, and it was great. Like Rory Scovel.
Oh God,
like just
I've only got to see him live once, but he killed it.
Incredible. I've only got to see him once too.
Which is funny as a comedian, because I know all these clubs and everything.
I saw him at the Comedy Attic, and I was like, I can't wait to see this guy again. And then I never did. Great though.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how my relationship grew with it. And now it's weird, but I can't even like watch stand-up specials very much anymore.
You're critiquing them too much?
Not even that. It's just like I'm just tired of it. Like I've seen so much of it that it's like I know where a lot of things are gonna go.
Yeah.
I could kind of see the play before it happens. Not all the time. And like some specials are still like very enjoyable for me to watch.
Yeah.
But it's just sometimes it's just hard to watch stand-up anymore, just because I've watched thousands of hours of it.
Right.
And when you see thousands of hours of anything, sometimes when you want to entertain yourself, you'll just watch Bar Rescue instead.
Which is on Paramount Plus. Also the home of Star Trek right now.
Yeah.
But then there's like comedy specials that like kind of take you off guard. Like, who's the guy that created Chappelle's Show?
Neil Brennan.
His 3 mics.
Yeah, I've heard
special
that.
was...
I never watched it,
but
I heard it's great.
Man.
I've heard it's great. It's like one of those things where I know I would like it, but
it's like the best combination, because he has like one microphone for like one-liners, one for like just regular stand-up, and then another one for like kind of like the more serious storytelling type stuff, and he just bounces throughout all 3 different microphones. It is like one of the most innovative specials I've ever seen.
Yeah, I need to watch that just for like the innovation of it.
Yeah.
But like sometimes it is just it's just hard for me to watch it as much anymore, you know.
Yeah.
I rewatched Chris Rock's special after he got slapped. I rewatched Tambourine, which was his newest one, which I like a lot. There's some bits in there that I really like, but I don't know. My relationship's different with it now than it used to be.
I'm sure.
As a fan, but I think everyone would say that.
Yeah. Now, like your comedy is, let's say, self-deprecating.
Yeah, too much. I need to like move to a different topic. I've had people come up to me after shows and be like, "Man, it was funny, but damn, it's kind of sad too." It's just like, I don't know. I don't want that, you know? I don't. That's what I like to talk about.
Because what's your line about what's your white chocolate line?
Oh, my ex-girlfriend gave me a stripper name. She called me White Chocolate because she wasn't sure why I exist.
That's still one of my favorite lines.
And I like that, but when you start doing like 25-minute sets,
yeah, just ragging on yourself.
You can't like, I don't know. I'd like to be more observational or talk about things that are happening, but anytime I try to write something like that, I'm like, I'll just write about how I hate myself again.
Because otherwise you're just going to wind up killing yourself.
Yeah.
Either that or like, you're going to have just like so many people coming up to you after showing me, are you okay?
Yeah, people ask me that. I'm like, I'm fine. I said it. Like, I'm the one who said it. I don't have I don't really have a problem with myself.
I'm acknowledging my shit.
It's just
right
like,
now.
I'm just like so narcissistic that me is the only thing I could write about. I can't write beyond myself, which sucks. I wish I could.
Well, but I mean, then you have like the story about how you used to be a garbage collector.
Yeah.
With the collecting the dead horse.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's not self-deprecating.
Yeah, that's just a thing.
That's just a great story.
That was a bad thing that happened to me.
Because how old were you when you were doing that?
I was like 21.
Okay. All right. Ooh, wow.
Actually, younger than that. I think I couldn't even legally drink then. I was like 19.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for anybody that doesn't know, Mitchell was a garbage collector, and he went by a place that had a dead horse in the front, and they wanted him to pick it up because didn't they spray paint the word trash on it?
Yeah. I remember specifically about that job that a bunch of my friends from my hometown did like jobs for the city. They would all apply for jobs for the city. And my two like best friends got this job where they just drove around in a truck and did nothing, basically. There were like so many make work jobs for the city that everyone else got. And then they were like, well, we're putting you on the garbage truck. I was like, you couldn't give me like a make work job? You couldn't get me like, my friends.
There's a plastic bag
my
stuck in a
friends
tree.
would like go to break and they'd be like, yeah, we've been on break for an hour. And the garbage trucks would meet at the same gas station. I would be covered in sweat and like shit and maggots. And they would be just
chilling.
What did I do to deserve this?
I mean, it's kind of made for your future, career.
Yeah, I mean, I got a joke out of it, I guess. It's surprising I don't have more.
Yeah, I know, really. I mean, I'm sure if you think back, you could probably have like a whole like Larry the Cable Guy type thing. It's just Mitchell the Trash Man.
There's this. I tried this a few times, but like, I was on the garbage truck one time, and the song "Beth" by Kiss came on the radio.
I hear you, Colin.
And the guy who's driving the truck pulled it over to the side of the road and cried for the rest of the song.
What?
And then
you heard this song, right, Mike?
Beth? Yeah, I know Beth.
And then he's crying, and it's just me and him, and Beth is playing. And then the song ends, and he just goes like, "Thanks, man, I needed that." And then we just started driving and collecting trash again. And like I don't know why I can't get it to work on stage, but it's such a weird thing that happened to me.
Mainly because I'm picturing just some like older, burlier dude just pulling over crying to like a song Peter Criss sung.
Yeah.
And got while he was handing out roses to the front row.
Yeah, he was bawling to Beth. I'm just sitting here in this big truck.
Probably on like a Wednesday morning.
Yeah. He was just crying, and then I had to go pick up a couch. What the hell?
Remember the acoustic version in Phantom of the Park?
Oh, yeah. Oh, was it when they're sitting around the pool?
Yeah.
Have you seen that, Mitchell?
No,
Kiss Meets the Phantom of the Park?
Oh, God, that sounds interesting.
It was like a made-for-TV movie, like 1978 or something crazy like that?
Something like that.
Yeah. And they were like, Kiss was performing at this like amusement park, and like they all literally had magic powers, but they had talisman. But like there was some evil mad scientist that was like trying to like initially take over the amusement park and then taking over the world with these like animatronic like werewolves that would come out and jazz dance at you at certain points.
I really miss when culture was like that. I wasn't alive for a lot of it, but like no one's willing to get weird like that anymore. No one's doing that.
Yeah, well, we were talking before the podcast about like because like you have featured on comedy shows with Bobcat Goldthwait recently, and we brought up the movie Shakes the Clown. Which, if any of our listeners have not heard Shakes the Clown, have you seen Shakes the Clown, Mike? Yeah, you didn't chime in earlier.
I remember the movie.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry, I was busy doing stuff when you were talking about it. I remember it. I saw it maybe once or twice back when it first came out. Oh, man. But I didn't really get into it.
Get into it again, because like that is the type of weird thing that like, you know, like I was telling you, like basically Bobcat Goldthwait took his Police Academy money and was just like, I'm gonna make my own movie with my friends, and it's just gonna be about an alcoholic party clown who eventually has a redemption story, and hey, we're gonna somehow get Robin Williams to come in for like a day and be a mime. He's gonna be the biggest asshole of a mime you've ever seen. And like nobody seems to do projects like that anymore.
You don't really see anything like that anymore, which is a bummer. I would love to see a movie like that. Just a bizarre, like freakish thing with, you know, stand-up comedians, you know. Or like we were talking about Dirty Work earlier, like a project like that.
Yeah, with Norm Macdonald.
Yeah, where it's just some stand-up comic directs a movie with that's just absurd.
Just a bunch of stand-up comics.
Yeah, and no one acts particularly well, and it's great.
I think like the closest thing we've gotten to that anymore is when Adam Scott would like partner with Adult Swim, and they would like recreate the opening credits for like old 70s TV shows.
Yeah.
I can't remember who he was doing those with, but yeah, those were fantastic.
Paul Rudd was in
Paul Rudd, that's right.
I actually just thought of an example of they were made probably like 5 years ago. Have you seen Punching Henry and Punching the Clown?
I've heard of it.
They're very funny. Henry Phillips directed it. And that's a bunch of.
Where would I know Henry Phillips from?
He's a stand-up comic.
Okay.
He's been.
I know the name.
The Comedy Addict a lot. Mm-hmm. And he has like something called Henry's Kitchen, which is just him doing like cooking.
Okay.
And comedy. He's also got an album from a character he made called Jose Suicido that's called Let's Get Suicidal. And it's one of the funniest albums ever.
Look that one up.
Yeah, look up Let's Get Suicidal by Jose Suicido. And you won't. On Apple Music, one of my friends saw that I was listening to something called Let's Get Suicidal. And they were like, hey, are you okay? I was like, yeah.
Between your stand-up and you listening to this?
I'm so good. I highly recommend it. But he did two movies that are along those lines. Punching Henry and Punching the Clown.
Okay,
I've
heard both the titles.
They're both great. Punching Henry, I think, has like Tig Notaro in it.
Tig Notaro is also in Star Trek now.
Oh yeah,
she's on Star Trek Discovery as Lieutenant Jet Reno. She's like an engineer that like fixes stuff with duct tape.
That rocks. Tig Notaro would be great. I mean, I don't know anything about Star Trek, but I feel like Tig Notaro would be great on it.
What's great about it is that Tig Notaro is basically Tig Notaro on the show.
Yeah, that's great.
Just biting and dry and just like kind of an asshole.
That's so perfect.
Mostly interested in candy.
Yeah, perfect.
Black licorice. Yeah.
I think Sarah Silverman's in it too. I mean, there's like a vast array of people. Great movie.
Interesting.
I'm actually probably gonna watch it when I get home.
Yeah.
Yeah. Probably gonna actually do that.
If nothing else, you need to get into Star Trek Lower Decks. You don't. It helps to know.
Does it have like my friends in it? That's what I call the Ferengis now. My friends.
They're in a couple. There's
episodes.
a couple episodes.
Okay.
There's one that's kind of Ferengi based.
I want to become like a Ferengi lore expert.
Well,
like I just want to. I only want to know about them.
Lower Decks you'd probably enjoy because the cast is like Eugene Cordero, Tawny Newsome, Paul F. Tompkins, Paul Scheer, Just like
Jack Quaid.
Jack Quaid. Just like a ton of comedians.
Jerry
O'Connell is the number one. Yeah. Phil Lamar. And just like, just a ton of comedians. The creator was one of the co-creators of Rick and Morty, and then also Solar Opposites.
Okay.
On Hulu. And he loves Mike McMahon. Yeah.
It's called Lower Decks.
It's on Paramount Plus.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yep. Star Trek Lower Decks.
I think you'd probably enjoy it,
right.
especially coming from a
I need
comedy
to
perspective.
I'm gonna slowly get into it. I think.
Yeah.
I liked that episode. I did. I really enjoyed it.
I consider Magnificent Ferengi one of the probably one of the funniest episodes out of all of Star Trek.
Yeah,
it's incredibly when they killed the guy on accident. When they killed the hostage on accident.
That's like a laugh out loud moment.
Incredible.
When I was on an episode of Trek Ranks that was like the funniest, pick your 5 funniest episodes.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that was my number 1 episode.
Most likely, it had to have been.
Yeah.
It's so when they kill the hostage, when the dead hostage body just walks into the wall over and
which
over.
Is also a subtle reference to an episode of original Star Trek called Spock's Brain, where someone steals Spock's brain and they have to put a thing on his head and control him with a remote control.
And they were doing that.
Yeah, it was like the same thing.
Oh,
So it's kind of a little throwback thing there.
The hand cutting was great too.
Yeah.
When they Moogie, right?
Yeah.
Where they tried to cut Moogie's hand to make sure is that another
that's part of the
reference?
ongoing story in the show with the Dominion War, and they're making sure they're not changelings. Probably my favorite line in that episode is when Rom starts to introduce everybody to Kevon. He's like, "This is Nog, and I'm Rom, and this is," and Quark interrupts him. He's like, he doesn't care. And then Kevon says, "Truer words have never been spoken."
So what's going on between the Federation and the Dominion?
They're at war.
Okay, they're at war. So
the Dominion is from a different quadrant of the galaxy, but there's a wormhole right outside of Deep Space Nine, which is like the home space station. And so, like, they're trying to prevent the Dominion from coming over and taking over that quadrant.
So does every single Star Trek series have, like, a main villain? Like, Deep Space Nine is
Not
the Dominion?
really.
Okay, I didn't know if that was basically what they were separated.
Actually, Deep Space Nine is pretty much the only show that kind of has an ongoing
main
villain.
Yeah.
like that. The other shows are, especially back then, the other shows were all more like one
villain of the
off
week.
episodes.
Villain of the week, and this has like a consistent I know we're like. I want to know how they do morality on this show. Are the Dominion like a clear evil, or they're just a clear, just a big bad. It's not like they're morally like ambiguous, or they're just
for the most part
fighting over their own material needs.
A lot of times on Star Trek, they'll introduce somebody, and then they'll be a villain right off the bat, and then later they'll give them moments of like redemption,
Slight redemption.
and like you think, oh, maybe I like them again. Nope, they're evil.
They're just evil.
Gul Dukat is probably the perfect, like, most
Trump character.
He just like he's evil, but then they keep giving him these moments where you think, well, maybe he's turned around, maybe he's nope, he's evil again.
No, the Cardassians were like the other main big bad on Deep Space Nine, and like so many people have made the comparison, like, because that was years ago. But like the way that he was like trying to like he actually uttered the words "make Cardassia great again," and so people have started like photoshopping like the red hat on him and everything, and it's like, oh, that's too perfect.
Yeah.
Oh wow!
Attention, Bajoran workers.
Oh man, I think we're getting towards a pretty good wrap up point. Mitchell, where can people follow you online since you're moving to Chicago
I'm
now?
on Instagram at Mitchell Potts Tater Tots. I'm on Twitter at I'm Mitchell Potts, and then don't add me on Facebook. Just
Well, why? Why not?
I don't know.
So that's-
you can add me on Facebook if you really want to.
That's tater tots plural.
Yeah, that's Mitchell Potts Tater Tots.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay,
Just like his last name. Potts
Yes.
is plural. Tots is
Yes.
also plural.
okay. 1T.
It's a little poem I wrote.
No, that's the same on Venmo, isn't it?
Venmo, it's I'm Mitchell Potts.
I'm Mitchell Potts.
Yeah.
Okay, because I've sent you money for ice cream.
I appreciated that too. Did I ever send you? I sent you the picture of it, right?
Yeah,
It was conditional on the picture.
You tagged me on Instagram.
What, did I scream "Daddy needs ice cream" so many times on the podcast?
Yes.
Yeah. I didn't call myself daddy enough on this pod. I was doing
You
it.
didn't at all until just now.
Yeah, I actually was doing it out of respect.
Oh, thanks, Mitchell.
Yeah, I know how much you hate it.
Oh my God. Yeah. Part of Mitchell's act, he calls himself daddy a few times. And then on the Cook on High for 30 Minutes podcast, you also refer to yourself as daddy
Hundreds
quite
of
a few
times.
times.
Hundreds of times.
In fact, the episode that I guested on, you called yourself daddy like 4 times.
Yeah, I wanted to do more that episode because I know how much it bothers you.
But I only got to deal with it one more time with you being as an Indianapolis comedian.
And then, Chicago.
And then it's like 2 or 3 times a year I got to hear you say
yeah,
daddy.
you won't have to hear it very much longer.
You could just start doing cameos
No, I will.
and just call yourself
What a
daddy.
sad person you would have to be to buy a Mitchell Potts cameo.
I mean, price it low enough. I'm sure somebody would.
$2. Oh, happy birthday.
All right. Well, thanks for coming on, Mitchell.
Thanks for having me. It was fun talking Star Trek.
We're sad we had you on, and now you're moving away just like every other comedian we've had on.
That's the way of the world.
I mean, so hey, other comedians, you wanna move your career on? Come on 5 Year Mission, the podcast.
Hey, do you like 5 Year Mission? And do you like getting exclusive content? Then you should check us out on Patreon if you haven't already. Over there, you can become a patron of 5 Year Mission, and that way you'll get all kinds of cool stuff that nobody else gets because they're not on Patreon. Things like videos and pictures, early releases, exclusive releases. We just put a live album on there recently that's only available on Patreon, and we have different tiers where you get different perks. You can be a lieutenant commander, you can be a captain, you can be an admiral, and one of the perks for being an admiral is that you get to be a producer on this podcast. Currently, our admiral producers are Neil Carpenter, Roxy and Becky, Carol Jones, Jen Tift, Helen Lake, Stephen Frankie Palopoli, Debbie Rinke, Madison Rachel Jones, and of course, Jim Morehouse. Your name could be on this list. Just head over to patreon.com/5yearmission right now and sign up. That's patreon.com/5yearmission.
Fansets.com is your home for all things pin related that you're ever going to need, from Star Trek to DC to Harry Potter and everything else you're looking for. Head over to Fansets.com. They just introduced the new ship line. These pins are huge. I got to witness them firsthand in Chicago, and they are gorgeous. They also just recently released the motion picture Delta, both in pinback and magnetic. And also, they are releasing some ship commemorative pins for like the Shenzhou and things along those lines, and they look pretty neat. So head on over to Fansets.com, enter the new discount code TrekGeeks, that's TrekGeeks, no spaces, all caps, TrekGeeks. Get 10% off your entire order. Fansets. Our pins have character, and we thank Fansets for sponsoring each and every episode of 5 Year Mission, the podcast.
Thank you for listening to this episode of 5 Year Mission, the podcast. If any of you are interested in listening to more of our music, you can check us out on YouTube or Spotify or iTunes or pretty much anywhere that you can listen to music. Just search for 5 Year Mission and we should be the first thing that comes up. If you would like to contact us in regards to the podcast or anything else that you want to talk to us about, you can email us at 5yearmissionband@gmail.com.
And for more information about the band, you can go to 5yearmission.net. And also follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.
5 Year Mission, the podcast, is a production of Coconut Media Works. Executive producers Bill Smith and Dan Davidson. For more great Star Trek discussion, discover the other shows of the Trek Geeks Podcast Network at trekgeeks.com or find us in Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcast app.